Hey, what's up? Today we're going to talk about how to write an article with the keyword golden ratio. And the reason why we're covering this today is someone asked a question in one of the comments yesterday. Now, I know some people may be expecting to see the homepage video, but here's the deal. I wanted to stick to the keyword golden ratio for this week. But what I've done is scheduled an event for next week for the homepage tips. So don't worry, I will actually get to that stuff, but it'll just be next week. So we could stick to the theme of the week, which of course is the keyword golden ratio. It's good to tie everything together. So I, I just want to stick with that. And a couple quick announcements. So I do have a keyword workshop going on tomorrow. I believe I put a link in the description. That is the free keyword workshop. That's tomorrow. If you click that link, you could sign up for it. It's free. And I go over like more details of the big picture of keywords. So if you're interested in learning more, do check it out. I'm hoping everyone can hear me, by the way. The other thing is I'm going live. This is the announcement portion, so bear with me. I'm going live later on today with Alex at WP Eagle. I put a link to his channel. I didn't see the event just out there, so I couldn't put a link, but that'll be in about 3 hours from now, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And then the other part is there's a link to the keyword golden ratio playlist, which I think most people have heard a lot about it at this point. But go check it out. If you haven't watched all the videos, please do check them out in the entirety. I mean, I think they all go together. Alex and I are calling it a master class, and you really do have like a full, I mean, it's over like an hour and a half of material. If I didn't add it all up, but it's pretty long. So it'll take some time to go through. There is a contest associated with it. It's only going on until the end of day Friday Mountain Time. So we're going to announce the winner, and you could win a 30-minute consultation with both Alex and I. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. So if you haven't entered, be sure to check out the rules on any of the videos in the playlist. Really easy to enter. And basically we just want like interaction with the videos. So very easy. All you have to do is like participate. And I'm going to hop over to the chat. We had a couple questions from SMAC, which I answered. If people care, you can read that stuff in the chat. Alwayne is on, of course. Benji's dad, how's it going? You asked the question right away. I'll just answer it before I get started. Do I ever use a quoted search? No, I don't. And Lance is on, Jaron and Duke, my kind moderators. Everyone thank them. We have Savvy, Victor, Ahmad, PG, Mohammed, and that's the crew. So hopefully we'll get a couple more people on. If you do have the opportunity to like the video, I appreciate that. And here's the question from Ahmed, who is that the Ahmed that's on here? Yes. So Ahmed, I'm doing this video because you asked the question. So you said, and I quote, "Bro, make an example of how to write an article out of KGR keywords, especially when there are more than one keywords. Smiley," unquote. All right. Alex and Wesley are on too. So I'm going to ignore the chat just for a moment. I'll come back, say hello to everyone. I want to try and get to the material. So you'll notice in the description, I put a link immediately in there for the perfect Amazon review template. That goes to a page where like I talk about content. So you can't really, figure out how to, write the content until you have a good idea of how to approach content in general, the different types of content and that sort of thing. So this live stream won't be all inclusive. There are some details that I will forget just through the nature of these live streams versus like writing a blog post that is informational, like the one that I've linked to. There's a full template that you can basically send to a writer. You may have to help them out a little bit to let them know what to put in each section, but it should be very helpful, at least so they have an idea of how to, use that template and then what to put in each section. So at this point, I'm assuming you have a keyword, you have a couple keywords, Ahmed, and you don't know how to write the content. So first of all, you can look at it a couple ways. So Number one, is it like a product review? If it's a product review, then the perfect review template is what you can use. It's modular, it's very flexible. You can use it for, an article where you cover one product or where you cover, 10 products or 100 products. It doesn't really matter. You can, take each section, expand on it, you can make it longer. There's a table in there. You could take out the table if you want to. You could put in more tables if you want to. So each section can be omitted or added to, right? So you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. It's totally up to you and what you think will serve the visitor to your site the best. You have a pretty good idea of like what they're looking for by the keywords that you're actually targeting. So let's say it's best ballpoint pen for journaling. All right. You would probably make that your headline, right? That is the title of your blog post, and you can just leave it as it is, right? That's very straightforward. That's how you would do it, and you can, write the article following the template. I obviously don't have a good way to like put that in the description, but there's like an intro, there's a couple images you want to put in, you want to talk about features and benefits of, the product type, like a pen or whatever it is. You talk about each model that you're covering and how their specific, features align with the features that you talked about. You could think of this as sort of like the buying guide section. And then I always like to have a section where you put in like the customer impression and, input from reviews, just really give people an idea of what it's like to own the product and the pros and cons, that sort of thing. And then I usually like to follow up with a conclusion. Very straightforward. Again, it's in the template. So all you have to do is, follow the link, check that out, and there's a little more detail there. Now, if it's informational, Ahmed, what you'll want to do is, just write it like an essay, right? So I don't know if you had to write these essays in like high school or whatever, college, where it's like you have an intro, you cover some points, and then you have an outro, right? The conclusion. Basically the same sort of idea as the template that I sent you, but you could cover whatever you want in the informational part. A lot of times informational articles and topics are basically, it's like how to. So I would say just put steps for how to do whatever it is that you're talking about. So very straightforward. Now the like second part of your question is like what you have to do. What do you need to do when you have multiple keywords? So if you're trying to utilize the keyword golden ratio, you probably just need to cover that one keyword. Now, a lot of people ask questions like, how many keywords do you target per article? I don't think about it like that. So I'll come up with we're talking KGR, and then I'll back up and tell you about other stuff. So keyword golden ratio, I write, I put the title in. That's the term that I found. Make sure it's proper grammar. You could add a couple words if you need to, and just have the core idea in the title. So you write that article. You're going to use other related keywords in that article, just regardless. You're going to, if you write it naturally, there's going to be synonyms that you use. There's going to be other like common phrases. LSI is what people refer to it as. And basically, you're going to use other words and you'll be fine. What I don't do is find like 4 KGR terms and try and slam them into one article. That kind of defeats the purpose. Like if you look at the formula, we're trying to find people that are intentionally targeting a phrase, a keyword phrase, by putting it in the title and writing an article that answers that question or like serves that searcher. All right. So if you are trying to do keyword golden ratio type content, you should just target 1 KGR term per post. 1,000 words is like the minimum to get started. And if you want to write more, 2,000, 3,000 words for each post, you can do that. I just typically do 1,000, and then that'll give me enough information like in a few months if I want to add more content. So once you have those posted, wait a little while, add more content if they get traction, and then move forward from there. If you are looking at non-KGR terms and you are like trying to, let's say you have a bigger keyword, 5,000 searches per month. Well, you may want to, pepper in some other terms like within that longer post. So whatever is relevant is what you could put in there. Again, typically I'm not like, all right, I need to use these terms. Usually I'll just write normally. Maybe I'll do some analysis after I publish it, see what it's ranking for that I'm not targeting, and then add that content in. So you could use tools like SEMRush, Ahrefs, or the Search Console and get that kind of information. So that is how you write content. And I'm going to go back to the chat, say hello. If you're just showing up, I see a lot of people joined in the last little bit. 4 quick announcements. Number 1, there's a keyword workshop tomorrow that I'm doing. It's free. There's a link. You just have to enter your email. It's tomorrow at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. A little bit earlier. I got a lot of meetings tomorrow and today, by the way. Number 2, there's a contest for the KGR playlist. If you go watch any of the videos, there should be details on how to enter the contest. By the way, not that many people have entered. So if you haven't started doing this yet, I recommend you jump on. I'm not sure the total number, but it's way less than you would think. All right. By the total number of viewers that are watching the videos, it's very, very low. So I highly encourage you to get on board. If you try, there's a high likelihood that you have a high likelihood of winning. All right. At least right now. So definitely check out the playlist. And I'm going live with Alex from WP Eagle in 2 hours and 47 minutes. So that's 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And now I'm back in the chat and I'll answer questions. All right. Sharon's on. Good to have you on. Rose, Constantine, John, what's up? John, I sent you an email earlier today. So hopefully we'll be able to catch up. Dennis, thanks for your email the other day. Appreciate that. Sophie. And okay, we have Justin. Good to have you on. Alwayne says you want to ask a personal question. How many page views do I get per month? Well, it varies on the site that I published a lot of content. It varies anywhere from, I can't remember the height of like the retail season, but I think around now it's in the like, I think it's maybe like 80,000 per month or something like that. Can't remember exactly off the top of my head. Okay, we have Ahrefs from New Jersey. Constantine says, how many times do you use a KGR term in one 1,500 or 1,000 to 1,500 word article? Usually like once in the title and then once in the article. That's pretty much it. Okay, and Dennis is adding his advice, although I may not agree. Be sure to add your keyword or LSI in the following spots: the meta description, the title, the first 100 words, the last 100 words, alt, and that's 6 spots. I think that's too much. So, and then, here's the thing. If you're doing advanced keyword research, like the keyword golden ratio, then I can tell you 6 times is way too much unless your article is like really long. So I would say less than that. However, if you're just looking at like a 1 or 2 word long keyword, maybe 6 times is fine. So it's hard to say. So Dennis, I respectfully disagree with you. If it's working for you, keep doing it, do it more. If it's working for other people, do it, but I think it's too much. Ahrefs says, what recommendations do I suggest for an affiliate store versus informational content? Okay. In general, and I'm going to make an assumption, the affiliate store, are you talking about like a WooCommerce type setup, or like one of those auto Amazon builders? By the way, I got an email the other day. Someone said, hey, what do you think of this Amazon store builder? Do you think it works? The answer is, I think functionally it probably works. Can you make any money from it? Yeah, but you have to do a bunch of work. So, and by the way, Ahrefs, I don't think you're trying to take a shortcut or anything like that. By the way, yeah, can you clarify your question? I'm not sure what you're asking. Sorry. So anyway, the big punchline is you can like use those automated type API store builder situations, but you still have to do the content side of it. If there's a way to do it without doing the content side, I don't know what it is. And anything that is sort of fast or easy usually doesn't work, because that means everyone could do that, and it means everyone would do it if it worked. And if it does work, it probably won't work for very long. So usually, like, the longer something takes and the harder it is, sort of like the more secure it's going to be, and like, assuming you're not making mistakes, like, the better it'll be. So, and Steve, okay, sorry, I lost my spot. John says, hello. What's up, John? Good to have you on. Steve says, you just ordered 2 articles on Upwork based on KGR results. Awesome stuff. Cool. So, Steve, are you seeing good results? Have you published some content already and seeing progress? And what other questions do we have? And while we're just hanging out, I can tell you that it appears, yesterday I did a live stream to tell people to check out the SEMRush video. If anyone's keeping score, that was actually helpful for me to point people towards that video. More people watched it, like you would expect, since I actively promoted it. And people said, there was one great comment. Someone mentioned, this is on SEMRush, by the way. It's kind of an expensive tool. It costs about $100 a month. However, you can get a trial for about 7 to 14 days. And like, you may be able to do all the research you need in that time. And I mean, I don't have an ongoing subscription. I just get a subscription and pay for the tool when I need it. It can get very expensive if you have, a handful of tools that are $50 to $100 a month and you're not actively using them all the time. Like, it adds up quick, and it's easy to forget about those. So, I mean, I recommend you check it out. And if you haven't watched that video, have a look. I mean, I basically show you what filters to whittle down like a whole lot of keywords from a tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs to a much smaller list that is manageable. And the cool part is, like, once you see how I'm doing it, you'll have your own ideas, and then you can come up with your own filters. I mean, I think I probably saw someone do some light filtering, and then I was like, well, I'm trying to do something different. How should I do it? And that's how I came up with my set of filters. And then once you set up the filters, you could pull a CSV. You could do much, better analytics in your spreadsheet tool of choice. All right. Okay. And Dennis says, you agree on a 1,000-word post, 1 or 2 times is best, but you normally write 2 to 4,000 words. Cool. Yep, that totally makes sense. Jeff says, thanks for the free course on YouTube. If you're doing a long article, can you use several KGR terms for subheadings within the article, or is it better to do them on their own? It's better to do them. Actually, you have 2 options. All right. I do each article individually, and then I see what happens, and then I'll adjust afterwards. You can put them all in one article if you want to. The thing is, it doesn't matter which way you do it. So if you put them all into one article, check the rankings in a little while, 2 months or 3 months or so. And if you are ranking what you intended to rank for, you can leave it, right? If it's not working out how you expected, you can separate the articles. So I do it the other way. I publish them individually. I see what happens. And then if I need to, I'll put them together. There's probably, pros and cons for each way, but I publish them separately and then look later. Really, we don't know, right? Every keyword's different. Every niche is different. So you're better off like doing anything, right? And then adjusting afterwards. It's not like it's an irreversible decision. You can just change it later. So it doesn't really matter. Just pick one. Okay. Sabby says, I know this sounds lazy, but you don't have much time. So as a beginner, is it okay to outsource your initial content writing for a new site? Yeah, that's great. If you have more money than time, that's like a really great way to do it. So, and Benji says, you saw I was featured on Human Proof Designs. Yeah, thanks. I think I've been on, if you haven't checked out those podcasts, by the way, I think I've been on like 4 episodes of the podcast, and a lot on the blog as well. So I'm not even sure which one you're talking about. I think I'm having something published over there before too long. Anyway, so I need to get back to Dom on that. All right. And Jeff, yeah, like I said, you're welcome. And it really, you could just pick one. I mean, some people may be like really certain that you should do one way or another, but in my opinion, it's only guessing. I think they're just guessing, right? So if someone sounds really certain, then I would wonder why. Because I mean, actually, and like I was just talking with my mastermind group earlier this morning, and there was an algorithm update, maybe a test, right? So this happens if people are newer. You may have not seen this happen too much, but Google tests like stuff. So I think perhaps there was a test like in late April, early May. Rankings went down. There was a lot of churn, and it seems like most people that I've talked to like fully recovered and then like went beyond where they were. So sometimes things are tested, and like really smart people don't know like what the trigger was. Like I know some people that had several sites impacted, but not all their sites. And then I know some people that had no sites impacted, nothing. And then I saw on one of my sites some of the posts improved in rankings, and some of them like got worse. And I mean, it's on the same site, and I don't know what the trigger is exactly. Okay, cool. And let's see. Sylvia says, "What's the podcast link?" You know what? I don't know off the top of my head, but if you Google my name, Doug Cunnington, and Human Proof Designs podcast, you should find the episodes. And I think there are like 4 total. So, okay. And Jaron says Human Proof Designs just sent out an email about how fantastic the KGR was, and pointing to a case study where it worked for someone recently. Great. That's great. Maybe that's, yeah, like I said, I owe an email back to Dom. I think he caught up with me last week while I was out of town. So that's cool. You know what? I get so behind on emails. All right. Steve says the answer to the public site is great, and when combined with keywords everywhere, it's amazing. Yes, and like that was a great video that Alex did. It is in the playlist, so if you haven't checked that out, but I mean, that'll give you like tons of long tails, and that's probably a good, a good place to go where you can, let's say you found as many KGR terms, or you haven't found too many, but you just want some ideas. That's a good place to look and just know that, people are asking those kind of questions out there. So, all right. And I'll do, I can do some more answers here. If you're watching and I answered your question or this was helpful, it'd be great if you hit the thumbs up. Looks like we have a few here. We have 19, so that's cool. I guess I'll do my announcements again here. So someone had a great recommendation yesterday for a little tutorial about what to put on your homepage. Some people, don't know what to put, and they just have like all their blog posts listed. So I decided to do that next week, not today. So it's scheduled already. If you go to my channel page, you should be able to set a reminder for yourself. By the way, I do recommend people to set a reminder if you're not getting notifications all the time. The notifications can be a bit much, but I know there are some issues with like notifications being sent out, and some people got them late or didn't get them at all or whatever. But if you are interested in attending or at least being notified, you can click the bell. That's a good way to like always get the notifications when I publish something. Or for the live events, you can set a reminder for that particular event. So next week I've scheduled one to go over the homepage stuff if you're interested in that. The other announcements are the keyword workshop tomorrow that I'm holding. It's free, but you do have to sign up for it. It's not on YouTube. So you do have to sign up for it. And I talk about the keyword golden ratio a little bit, but I talk about like the bigger picture of what you're trying to do. So I go over like different keyword volumes that you may want to look for and why, and the different types of keywords that are out there and why you want to go after some versus others. The other part is the contest for the KGR playlist. So you can get, free coaching, a consultation with myself and Alex. And I'm talking with Alex later today at 1 p.m. So that's coming up before too long. All right. Did you guys hear that loud bell? My wife just texted me. Okay. And Dennis says you get a kick out of the guy on the Answer the Public site. Yeah. It's pretty funny. Jeff says Neil Patel just bought Uber Suggest. You should check it out. He has tons of free SEO info on it now. Yeah, there's been a lot of different features added there. So yeah, it's pretty robust now. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh yeah, so if you want to enroll for the free keyword session tomorrow, there's a link in the description, and I think it says like free keyword workshop on June 7th. So if you just click on that, you do have to enter your email. You'll be joining my email list at that point, and I'll send you some helpful emails. And I mentioned on the page that I do send you some emails, and you're joining the email list, part of the great GDPR deal going on. So I'm like, I'm going to send you some emails. Don't be surprised. All right. Benji's dad says, do I use quoted search results? No. The answer is no. The reason why is it's too strict. So you shouldn't use the you shouldn't use it. And Thomas says the Yoast plugin has reported to cause massive drops in rankings with the time frame. There's an in-depth article. Yeah, I saw that, and basically what happened is it was a big mistake by Yoast. By the way, they totally screwed this up. There was an update, just a regular plugin update, and it reset some of the settings to like the default, or it changed some settings. So the result was your media files were indexed as their own page and like submitted into like the sitemap, or not the sitemap, but the index for Google, right? So if you look at the search console, I may be able to do a video on this. I'm not 100% sure, but basically if you look at the search console, you'll see like a spike in like early March, or whenever you may have updated your plugin, early March, for like way more indexed pages. Now the confusing part, Thomas, is around the same time, that is when the algorithm stuff started happening. So like it could have messed up some rankings for some sites, but I had a site where this happened, and I just looked yesterday, but the thing is, the traffic was the same. There were no impacts to the rankings. In fact, I think it moved up a little bit in the time frame. So basically, I don't know. It's very confusing because that issue happened. Yoast is a hugely like widespread, like it's all over the place. Most people recommend it, and it has some good features on it. It's really, it's limited for advanced keyword research like we're talking about. But the thing is, no one knows what's going on. Okay, cool. But thanks, Thomas. Good to note. And Dennis does mention 2 of your sites got hit. You switched the sitemap to Jetpack and disabled Yoast and resubmitted to Google. Cool. And it totally recovered in a bit of a boost. Now, the interesting thing is I heard from several people who started, their sites were recovering, their sites declined. And then some people did a bunch of stuff, and then they kind of saw some recovery. And then it seems to have recovered even better. Another set of people did nothing, and their site, their rankings went down, their traffic went down, and then it went back up higher. So it sounds like an algorithm test or update, was in place and then like rolled back or tweaked in a very specific way. So thanks, Brian. Registered for the webinar. Very cool. Very cool. And just a quick note, it sounds like people like the playlist style since we're just hanging out here talking. My thought when I talked to Alex was, hey, let's do a playlist. Let's make it a binge watch kind of thing. So someone can we want you to watch them sequentially, but if you watched them out of order, you would quickly realize it's part of a playlist, and then you would hopefully jump back to the beginning. But how do people like it? Do you like to be able to watch like everything? It all fits together in a short period of time versus like having it. Well, when I describe it out loud, it sounds dumb to release content like this. Whereas, when you look back at the last year of content where it's like video on this topic, and it's all over the place and not very thoughtful versus like, here's 10 videos on this one thing. And now you're focusing on that. So what do you guys think? Okay. Dennis says you binge watched the playlist and you loved it. Perfect. That's what we want. PG says it was awesome. Thank you. And by the way, if people don't like it, also let me know that too. And if so, what do you not like about it? Are some videos too long, some too short? And I know some people are going to say like the long ones are too long and the short ones are too short. Like there's two different sets of people that watch these. And John says, the Yoast update messed up your ability to add meta descriptions. Did it happen to anyone else? You know what? I'm not sure. I didn't notice that. I've actually just gotten away from meta descriptions just because Google seems to choose whatever they want anyway. So I just make the first sentence good and then go on with my normal stuff. And like I said, so Sabby loved it as well. Steve likes the shorter content. Like I said, some people are like, hey, I really want to watch your longer tutorials. And then other people are like, can you just make it fast? I only have 4 minutes. So, okay. Jeff says, great idea. Cool. Dennis liked, shared, and commented on every video. Very good. Appreciate that. And Mark says, hello. What's up, Mark? Good to have you on. Steve says, too much Alex and not enough Doug. Just kidding. Yeah. It's a nice blend, it's a whole different set of audience. So we're trying some cross pollination, and Alex really helped me a lot. I'm pretty sure he's not watching this or will watch it or anything, but he helped me a lot growing my channel. I reached out to him when I was just getting started. I only had about 1,500 subscribers on YouTube, and he had like 15,000 or more. So he's way bigger than I am. And I was like, hey, do you want to do a collaboration? and he did. So it worked out well. And let's see. Ahrefs says, great playlist, watching in between the live sessions. Cool. Glad you enjoy it. All right, and Wallace mentions the SEMRush overview was thorough. You really enjoyed how I tweaked the settings and really dug deeper into the keyword research. Okay, cool. Thanks, everyone. And I wasn't looking for a bunch of compliments, although I will take all I can get because the other side of it is, people just telling me I'm wrong and stuff. But anyone not like the playlist? And if so, do you have any feedback on hey, what do you want to see next time or something like that? Steve says, any more playlist collaborations planned? Nothing planned. I need to look at other people that we have common audiences and stuff like that. I did reach out to the income school guys after I returned from vacation to see if they did want to collaborate. So I know there was a video they published 10 days ago, and they were talking about the keyword golden ratio. They didn't mention me. They didn't give me a shout out or credit the KGR at all to me, but they did talk about it. And I was like, hey, this is, still a good back and forth. So I reached out to them to see if they still wanted to work with me. I have not heard back yet, but I am up for it. I'm happy to collaborate. You know, they have a great audience. They seem to be good guys. They don't like the keyword golden ratio. That's okay. It's not for everyone. Not everyone needs to like me or the keyword golden ratio. It's just fine. Okay, and Lorraine says, thanks for the homepage tips live. Yep, so that's next week. If you're just tuning in, I'm doing a live stream on the homepage of affiliate sites. So be sure to click the little whatever reminder deal. All right. Morad says, thank you from Morocco. Save those live videos, very informative. Yep, and they're out there right after I finish up. Wallace says, too bad if I don't like compliments. I mean, I like them, I like them. It's but the negative feedback is sometimes easier to do something with. So, and I think, I published a lot of videos and tried to improve some playlists and stuff over the past few months. So luckily I did expect that this playlist would work out well. And Brian says you're interested in the webinar topic. Fantastic. And Benji's dad says they killed the KGR. Yeah, I briefly, I got to save some of it for like the back and forth if they want to do the playlist and all that. But, a portion of it I talked about yesterday in the live stream, and I'll just mention it here. Like, yes, there are definitely KGR compliant terms that are not good and they won't work. However, there's a lot of them that do work, and we don't want to ignore those and throw those out. The other point is I never suggest to only build a site with KGR terms, right? Most people that are, not everyone, but a lot of people are beginners, right? Everyone starts as a beginner, and it's a great way to approach keyword research different than everyone else. That's one of the reasons why it works. A lot of people say it won't work, right? Well, that's great, because there's a lot of evidence out there suggesting that it does work. And if some people are saying it doesn't work, that hopefully means they're not going to use it. And that means there's more out there for, the people that believe. So I think, there's a lot of ways to approach it. You shouldn't just use KGR information and techniques. You got to do a lot of stuff. This is a whole set of activities, but a lot of people just seem to be asking about the keyword golden ratio. So, and like I said, not everyone, I don't need everyone to approve it or like it or anything like that. It's totally fine with me. All right. Any other questions? Any other questions about like writing content using the keyword golden ratio? Any others? And I'll continue, since people come on and off of this, there's a free workshop tomorrow. It's 9 a.m., a little earlier than usual. There's a link in the description. The other thing is I put a link to point you towards the perfect Amazon review template. It's modular. It's expandable. You can make it smaller. You can review one item. You can review 10 items. It doesn't matter. There's some instructions on the link that I posted. I think it's the top link. Yes. nichesiteproject.com/Amazon, whatever. And it's on the bottom of that page, or you have to scroll down a bit, but do have a look at that page and make sure you kind of understand the context of like how you should approach content. Okay. And a couple other cool things I'll mention. So in the last little bit, like the last week or so, I think like 4 to 5 people reached out, and or maybe it's just 4. They said, hey, I'm having great luck with the keyword golden ratio. I started 6 months ago or however long, and I was making, nothing. And now I'm making $2,000 a month. And, my site's been around for a while and I just couldn't connect the dots. Really similar to what John's story was. So I'm talking to Nick later on today. I'm talking to Evan tomorrow. And I thought there was another person on the calendar, but maybe those are just coaching sessions. So anyway, there's some more success stories on the way for the success stories for the keyword golden ratio. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can listen to the other people that like it. Wallace says, you personally like the KGR. It's a great way to get started, but you also have to check the competition on the first page, no matter what keyword you're going after. Yes. And I think that was one of the points that Jim and Ricky made. Totally valid. I mean, most of their points I agree with to some extent. One is the data is inaccurate that you're using. Well, it's not exactly right. It's not exactly accurate, but it's close enough. And the other argument may be, if the competition's too tough, then you're not going to be able to compete. Yeah, that's true for any keyword. Just like you're saying, Wallace, like you have to take a look at the competition and see what's going on. And then the other, argument is around like, well, if it doesn't fit the KGR, then I'm not going to write it. I've never said anything like that. I mean, there's tons of posts. In fact, if you look at Niche Site Project, I've sort of not really looked at SEO. Like I write posts that seem to be helpful. And it's one of the reasons why, traffic's lower than I would hope. And I'm looking to, apply more like keyword golden ratio ideas to Niche Site Project. I basically ignored it before because I'm like writing stuff that I know is in fact helpful. Good points, Wallace. Thanks. Lorraine says the KGR is a great way to find uncompetitive long tail keywords, no matter what the argument is. You used it and it works most of the time. Yep. Cool. Dennis is talking about the Keywords Everywhere plugin update, and you really like it. Awesome. All right. Lorraine says, do use mods to figure out the competition. Also visit some of the top links to research more. Yep, that is exactly what you should do. You could use some tool, right? You could use Ahrefs and look at the domain rating. You could use Majestic and look at the trust flow. But nothing's better than going to the site and like looking at the content, see how long it is, see the quality, how many posts are on the site, like this whole thing to give you an idea of the quality that you're going after. 10th, John, the 10th man says, I know you probably mentioned this, but if the all-in title is less than 64 and the LMS is greater than 210, would you recommend going for it? So here's the deal. Number one, check out the video, John, on why 250 is in there. It's the second part of that video that's really important. Basically, I would go for it. All right. I would go for it. But it depends on a few things like how old your site is, how well it's like ranking in general, and the overall authority, and probably a bunch of other factors. In general, I would probably go for it, but it's totally up to you. In general, and John, I know you watch a lot of the videos. In general, I would just say, try it, test it out with 5-10 articles and see what happens. That'll give you some data. I mean, I know you're doing a lot of work on your site. So if you did that, I would expect, maybe it ranks a little slower, but you would eventually probably rank that. Now, the second part of that video that I described, why is 250 in the keyword golden ratio? That sort of explains it. And I'll leave it at that so you could go check it out. That's one of the shorter videos, by the way. Adif says, how to write engaging content. Well, I guess the first thing is to, have the visitor in mind. Always have the visitor in mind. And then there's no one tip. So what I'll say is like study copywriting and that'll be better. Dami, what's up? I haven't seen you on here in a long time. Riza says, do I use check price buttons? No. Or do I just use text links? Yes, I just use text links. You want to reduce your affiliate links without hurting the conversion. I just use text links and kind of combine what you're talking about, like check the price, check details, check whatever using text. I usually stay away from buttons. So Benji's dad says, what standard do you use to choose a KGR keyword that SEMRush or Ahrefs says has no traffic? So basically, if I I'll go after keywords if a tool says there are 0 searches per month, if it's a Google auto suggest or a related search. So if Google is telling me that, and by the way, this is in a few of the videos where I'm like, here's how to find some terms. Like watch those couple. I can't remember. Maybe it's like the format of KGR terms. Check that one out. Benji's dad. And yeah, basically, if Google is telling me that people search for it through auto suggest, I'll write it. That's basically it. Your threshold could be different. Maybe you want to find like all in titles less than 50 or all in titles less than 20 or 100 or whatever. But just pick something and then see what happens. Um, all right. Oh, Bob's on. What's up? Good to have you on. Hope you're feeling better. Joe says, I use the KGR on blog posts for your software company. It's worked great because those KGR articles are bringing in relevant traffic to the site and it's allowed you to rank for other keywords. Joe, that's awesome. I'd like to hear more about it because that's like a real world application outside of affiliate marketing, which is really cool. I mean, that is probably like where I need to take this to people. So yeah. And next, John said something. Oh, John says trying to have evidence for your friend in Canada. Thanks. All right, cool. Alwyn says, what's a good authority score? What, I guess, give me some context. I don't understand. And what tool are you using? Yeah. Dennis says your competitors must be monitoring your site. After publishing a KG article, they published a similar article. You also check for new posts on their site to get ideas. Yeah. And I mean, I think like one thing that everyone needs to remember is like the barrier to entry to like start these sites is pretty low. I mean, you have to put the work in, you have to do the research. There's a lot of mistake. I mean, there's a failure point at every step of the way, right? And there's like 100 steps. But the thing is, you do have to look for ways to like differentiate yourself, like Dennis, right? I mean, it's super easy for someone to say, oh, there's an article that they posted. They have their writer. They can have a system set up where like they just have their writer look and then they publish that. So like this is just the first step, right? I mean, you have to promote your site. You have to do outreach if you really want to like have a sort of a defensible position for your site. Otherwise, you're just as good as anyone else who could publish a lot of content and just copy you. You want to make it hard for someone to copy you. It's hard to copy complicated steps like outreach. So, I have heard of people, this was very popular when I first got started. I mean, I saw someone recently talk about it too. It's like, oh yeah, I just went to, Ahrefs. I found all my competitors' backlinks and I started reaching out to all those places where they got links. And they're getting a lot of links, some of the same links. What I don't want is a site where someone can like just copy the backlinks. And how can you get away from that? And I talked about it a little bit yesterday with like guest posting. And the 1 hour professor asked me about this, by the way, if you want to check out the live video from yesterday. Basically, if you just send out emails and you're getting links, that means other people could just send out emails and get links. What's harder than that is to spend time networking and get guest posts or links from sites where you can't just walk up and say, hey, I'll give you $30 and will you put a link in? Because that's what is happening a lot, right? So you don't want those links in general. Some of those may be fine, right? Some small percentage could be okay. But what you want is like a relationship with a blogger that'll let you guest post. Maybe they'll even put links to your site because you guys are friends or something like that. And then someone is not going to be able to turn around and just copy your backlinks. That's what you're aiming for. ATF says, when am I going to open a 5-figure niche site again? It'll be in mid-July, although I'm looking to, people watch these videos. Who knows when they watch them? So it could be many months from now. The point is, I'm looking to add a way to have people join on an ongoing basis if they really want to, right? So ATIF, I'm planning on opening it up in about 6 weeks or so. Nairobi, what's up? What tool, Stan from Nairobi, what tool do I use to track keywords? I use serplab.co.uk. Hi says you love the stream with Alex and myself. Well, buckle your seatbelt because we're doing another one in 2 hours and 8 minutes. Dennis says, Joe, that is why the keyword works. You end up for ranking for keywords that you're not targeting. Yeah, totally. Steve says, how much should you be looking to pay for 1,000 words? Basically, about $15 is what I was generally paying. I haven't gotten anything written fresh like in the last few months. So I would say that's probably still holding true, about 15, maybe a tad more. But Reza says, can you apply KGR terms to your existing posts by changing the title? Yes, you can. Insane Indian says, thanks for all the useful info. You're welcome. JW, what's up? Good to have you on. Alwyn says you use Moz and your domain authority is 20 and your page authority is 15. And you're wondering if that's okay for a 6-month-old site. Yeah, that's fine. And it turns out those are like vanity metrics that, I mean, they're helpful to gauge the competition. But you should never think, hey, I want to raise my domain authority, because it's like a point. I mean, who cares, right? What you really want is to get more backlinks, right? So just if you know you're getting more quality backlinks, that'll eventually move your domain authority up. And by the way, you could totally, I mean, if you just want to improve your domain authority, go blog comment on high authority blogs for, 60 days, do like 10 per day for 60 days on, sort of higher authority sites, and your domain authority will go up a lot. Hi says you have a problem with 2 H1s on your blog post. Hi, email your theme support. Say XA says, what are some ways you could monetize an adult blog or would monetize? I have no clue. I don't have any experience there. Wallace says, am I doing anything for GDPR compliance like a plugin? Actually, I was just catching up with my mastermind group. I haven't implemented anything yet. It's probably way more important for Niche Site Project, but I haven't yet, and I'm looking to add one of those. You see Georgie down here? She's so jealous. I need like the dog cam, so I could just turn it on, but because we could just see her snout right now. Anybody else have dogs? Just let me know in the chat or comment. And let me know if you like having Georgie on or if you dislike it. Hold on, let's see if Georgie. Oh, hey, where you going, girl? Because she's like the guest host. Yesterday she was dreaming an afternoon dream. She was barking in her sleep. Really awesome. Always good to see that. Here, Georgie. Here, you want to come up here? Georgie, go up here. There you go. There you go. There you go. All right. That's better. Now she could be on camera a little bit better. Okay. There we go. All right. JW says, what's the easiest, best way to get backlinks? And how would you recommend finding sites to get your links on? JW, that's too long of an answer for the scope of what I'm talking about or the time that I have right now. However, if you just search on my channel and just look for like guest posting, you'll find several videos on it. And then if you look for like SEO plan or link building, you'll also find other information. I would say the easiest and the best way are on other ends of the spectrum. So if you're trying to find an easy way, it's not going to be very good. And if you're trying to do the best way, it's probably going to be a little more difficult. So they're opposing forces. You cannot have both. Bree says, dropping in to say hi, used to pay 0.7 cents a word for several writers, and then you went through dozens of writers to get there, but it's possible with Upwork. Cool. Yeah, and I think, I mean, when it came down to it, for me, I'd rather pay someone, and this is what you're getting at, Bree. It's like, I just want to pay someone like a fair price for what they're doing, so that they get something out of it, I get something out of it, and then it's all like, it's good, right? So a fair wage, $15 for 1,000 words, maybe low for some people, but if someone's just getting started on Upwork, then you can certainly like do it. And what I found was, when I'm beating someone up on price for like, pennies of a word, yeah, it adds up if you're publishing a lot. But the fact is, like, people that work for less often were like flakier and less reliable. So once I found someone good, I would like regularly give them raises and or give them consistent work so that they like got a lot out of it. Wallace says you have a beagle named Milo. He's a good boy. Yeah. Is he one of the like howlers? I know I've met a couple of beagles in my day. They bark a lot and howl and stuff like that. And Insane Indian says you love the dog. All right, cool. Yeah, she's just chilling. Need to go take her out here in a minute. Lance says the Bing Webmaster tool gives you a list of keywords that your post showed up in for results, and it's a great list of keywords to include in your KGR. That's cool. And Lance is saying, I'm not sure if Google Analytics provides the same info. Google Analytics does not, but the Google Search Console will provide you like what I think is like similar information. So you can see like my site has shown up for certain search terms, or like this page has shown up for certain search terms X number of times. Cool. So I think it's interesting. A lot of people have now joined up. We were up to like 60 some odd people. Now we're at 53. I do have to jet here shortly. I'm going to quickly summarize what I talked about, and then a couple of the announcements. There's a workshop tomorrow. It's free. It's on keyword research. I give like a more holistic view of like keywords and keyword research, not just the keyword ratio, keyword golden ratio. There's a link in the description. It says free keyword research workshop on June 7th. It'll be at 9 a.m. There will be a replay. So if you're interested, you click that link. You'll have to enter your name and email address. You'll be on my email list, and then you'll get the link for tomorrow and the replay link. I'm doing a live stream later in about 2 hours with WP Eagle, Alex over there. So be sure you check out his channel. It'll be on his channel, not mine. And we'll be live. I don't actually know what we're talking about, so we'll just figure it out. And then, of course, there's a contest for the KGR playlist. You can win a free coaching consultation session with Alex and myself. 30 minutes. It's free to enter. It's easy to enter. All you have to do is participate, leave some comments, and be part of the community. That's kind of the idea here. And all the videos in the playlist are listed here. I did point out why 250 is in the keyword golden ratio. And some people pointed out they really like the Answer the Public video as well. I mean, they're all interesting. I think they all sort of fit together, but I would recommend you take a look at all of them. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. You can watch the longer ones at a faster speed, if you want. WordPress tutorials, what's up? Good to have you on. Bree says, for yourself, you found writers in other parts of the world that wrote a sample paragraph. You would love to overpay writers one day. Cool. Micah, what's up? All right, WordPress. Before you go, give me one good idea for a blog, something niche. All right. Pour some more tea here real quick. Atif, what question did you ask that I didn't answer? Pretty sure I did answer. July. Mid-July. Did I answer that, everyone? Did I answer? All right. Sophie says the playlist is great. Excellent. Oh, Patrick, thanks for participating in so many of the comments. And everyone else too. I know a lot of people like Dennis left comments. Really cool. Evan, talking to, I think tomorrow. I just mentioned you, Evan. So yeah, appreciate all the comments, Patrick. Really good insights. And thanks for the thumbs up. Let's see here. Grant's at work. You're just checking in. Yeah, it's funny. It's tough. Like more and more people hop on. It's like it's hard to get out of here, especially with all the familiar faces. Okay, how about I would say WordPress tutorials. Ask a question. Give you an idea. All right. So I'm trying to be patient here and come up with something. Here, I'll give you an idea so it'll be helpful for you. Go to the Wirecutter and look at all the different categories they have. Any of the categories would be a fine niche to go for. And by the way, if you check out the SEMRush tutorial where I go over Wirecutter, you will see you can like find a bunch of keywords too. So go do that, and that'll be good for you. And in general, just a tip, like if people are like, hey, what's a good keyword to go for, or what should I do? I don't like that in general. So just a tip for everyone. It sounds it comes off lazy. All right. Just a little bit. You're like asking for an idea. What if everyone asks for an idea? Be worthless. Yeah, WordPress tutorial. Yeah, pen blog, exactly. Yeah. It comes off slightly lazy. I'm sure you didn't intend it that way, and I hope I didn't offend you. So I try not to offend anyone, but sometimes it happens. So just ask good questions where it's like you tried to find some niches on your own, and frame it that way. It's like I tried to do some stuff. Here's where I ran into a problem. How do I fix the problem? What I don't want to teach people is just like, here, go do this niche. I want to teach people like how to like learn a skill that they could apply like elsewhere. And by the way, if you know how to do affiliate marketing and SEO, like all the stuff for Amazon sites, you can do it in any industry. We had, I forget the person's name, who was using the KGR for their software site. I'm trying to look through the chat here. But basically, you can use it on like anything. So you have like a skill set that you could apply elsewhere. So a lot of people don't draw the connection, but you can do that. So, okay, cool. WordPress tutorials, we're good. Yeah. All right. And I think, oh, it was Joe. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Kevin says he's late. You're going to rewatch it. Excellent. Sophie with markers says the Income School guys are great too. They're good. We were on each other's channel. So yeah, I like the Income School guys. And Evan says the cool thing about the KGR is that it makes almost every niche accessible. Indeed. All right. Any last questions before I jet? Don't forget, you can get the consulting session with Alex and myself. Just follow some of the links below about the contest and the playlist and all that stuff. And I think what could be interesting, I'll check with Alex, but we're getting some very interesting data by doing what we're doing. I mean, you have to geek out on YouTube video stuff, so it may not be the exact right audience for what I'm doing, but I mean, the cool thing is like you could take ideas of like what we're doing here and then do it on a blog, or, because basically, we get I got the inspiration from all the shows you could binge watch on like any of the streaming channels. I said I was going to go, but I'll just tell this a little bit here. Because I really liked Cobra Kai. And my wife and I were having some beers on a few weeks ago before vacation. And we're like, oh, we'll just watch the first episode of Cobra Kai. I have YouTube Red. And I was like, hey, let's just watch it. So we watched one episode, blown away. And if people haven't watched Cobra Kai and you're roughly like my age, like I'm 39. So if you're roughly like over 35 and like Karate Kid was a good movie for you and you like watched it a lot, Cobra Kai is amazing. Really good. I mean, I think the writing's better than the original movie. And we watched 6 episodes that night and had several beers. And then we finished it up like the next day. And we just wanted to watch like more and more. So releasing all this stuff at once to let people watch like a piece that all goes together was why we did this. So anyway, we'll see you in a couple hours. Oh, and Airsa says, is there guidance aside from the KEG methodology? Follow the link to the perfect Amazon review template. You'll find that that is a one piece of a full sort of 7-step guide. And there's a portion on keyword research. So you should take a look at that. The KGR idea is a piece of the puzzle. And if you don't understand the rest of the puzzle, or you don't look at the context of what we're trying to do, it's not as helpful. Steve says you got this on your TV or iPad and phone, so you don't miss anything. Great, I appreciate that support. P&G started watching the playlist yesterday, and then yep. And Wallace says you were gonna watch. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry. Breeze out of here. See you later. And excellent. Okay, I'm gonna head out. I'll see you in a couple hours, hopefully over on WP Eagle.